Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis. Do you wish that your camp had the benefits of an engaged alumni group?
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
A big thanks to our sponsors who make the CampHacker podcast possible. You don't lead camp because you love the office, right? UltraCamp has everything you need to manage your program so you can spend more time doing what you love. Manage staff, register campers, take payments, and direct communication all in one place. Find out more at ultracampmanagement.com/camphacker.
Hello, Camp Mavericks. Welcome to the CampHacker podcast, brought to you by UltraCamp and 5 Minute Fridays. I'm Travis Allison. I'm a summer camp marketing and strategy consultant.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hudson. I'm a camp consultant and director and founder of Camp Highlight, a sleepaway camp for kids with LGBTQ parents. It's the best camp you've ever heard of.
And I hope one year I'll be able to go visit Camp Highlight. My name is Gabrielle Rail. I'm one of the camp directors at Camp Ouareau, an all-girls camp in the Laurentian Mountains, and we focus on creating a positive environment for gender minorities.
And my name's Joe Richards. I play guitar at Pierce Williams.
Right on. Thank you all. I'm grateful to have the three of you here for this, our last official recording of the season. I think that there'll be one more episode comes out where we once again bring Dan Weir back. It was our tools to have you ready for the summer show. And so we're excited to bring that to you before the end of the season. This is our last recording. And in honor of that, I want to say to the three of you how grateful I am that you have given your time to this show, and for all that you do for the industry. Sharing your wealth and experience is an amazing gift to this industry. I'm going to start us right off into this. So this is about alumni, the good and the bad. I want to focus on the good, but I think we need to acknowledge the bad. First of all, why would you want an engaged alumni, Chris Hudson?
That's a question I had. I think, okay, when thinking about this topic, it depends on the kind of camp that you're running, right? Mm-hmm. I think it wholly depends on the kind of camp that you're running. The kind of camp that I'm running, engaging the alumni for us is really a staffing issue. Is there a way we can engage the kids who are graduating, hold them in the community so that they'll want to rejoin the community in some capacity when they're old enough? I think there's a year gap. You think I know because it's my camp. Let me think about it. Yeah, there's a year gap. Once they graduate, they have to go away for a year, have some other experience, and then they can apply to work at Camp Highlight. So like and I have to say, this is a great timely question, because this is a question that we're just beginning to ask. Because we have a lot of young people who want to come back and work at camp, and we're trying to set up a structure for that. Nevertheless, that's what's important for me for staffing. I know for other camps, depending on your structure, engaging your alumni can be around getting donations, around, installing people on your board or preparing them for that in the long term. It's such a broad question, like how to engage alumni. But anyway, can I just speak to this part of this? How to engage alumni? I think everyone does like the newsletter, right? We all send out newsletters from our camps. Like we all like, hey, stay engaged, whatnot. Joe does not. Joe is so Joe, number one, a newsletter. Honestly, I don't think anyone reads it, but it's just the constant presence of Camp Highlight in your inbox. Like it just keeps it not front of mind, not back of, like side of mind. Like it keeps it, like it comes up from time to time. And I think another way to engage people is to have events. And now that the Band-Aid's been ripped off for virtual events, which I hated pre-2020, post-2020, I still hate them, but everyone's used to them. So finally, it's a tool that is useful, I guess, useful to me. Anyway, I feel like I was all over the place and didn't answer the initial question.
You started with the answer to the initial question.
I started
why would
and then
you
I just
want an engaged alumni?
Yeah, but that's why. I mean, I think
and then you
for
covered
me,
all the rest of the topics for the rest of the show.
Great. So let's move on to the tool of the week. But that's my thing. I want to engage people for staffing
Great.
primarily.
Yeah.
Excellent. Gabz, what's it for you? Why?
Why alumni? Like fundraising, mentorship, just lifting stuff from point A to point B, supporting, communicating to families. Like there's so many different venues that you can go in. And for me, the primary use that we've had with our alumni is the support of either our staff or when we want to expand our operations, not necessarily in business, but just getting better at what we do, bringing in specific individuals that have Camp Ouareau as a big picture, understands our mission, and wants to now contribute their expertise, whether they're in HR, whether they're part of a medical team, whether they're even an engineer. Those individuals have been really, really helpful. I'm excited to talk about this topic. I have lots of thoughts.
If I wish that Jackie and Gabz would hold a consulting company just for camps and alumni, because I know it's been a challenge for you, like all of us. It's been challenged at different points, but how you utilize them as a resource for your current staff is stunning. Like it is just amazing. I know it took a while for that to get up and running, and I suspect it's partly just had to develop the culture around what it means to be that. But the work you do that way is just amazing to me.
Thanks. Yeah, this is a great topic.
What's your secret?
The secret is to know the difference between people that are nostalgic for camp or if they want to contribute to camp and help it grow. That's the secret. And the people that are nostalgic are really actually quite wonderful if you have those events that Chris is talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice part of giving back to them. That they are a marketing tool for us. So in our events, we really lean into the nostalgia, but we also make it part of our culture to talk about the change and why we've done the change, and we onboard them. But they leave camp and they talk about camp, and they help us get staff and they help us get families. So these events for our nostalgia type alumni is a marketing piece. And then the ones that I want to contribute to camp, I want to see it grow, I want to see it succeed. There's a whole other column for them.
Yeah. Excellent. Do you have a why for engaging alumni, Joe?
Yeah, it's different at a nonprofit or a charity camp as well, because your alumni are like was said by Chris and Gabz, right? They can be mentors and they can be they can spread that word of mouth. The expertise piece, I think the piece that Gab didn't cover under expertise is the idea that as we deal very locally. So Pierce Williams deals very locally within our county and within our region. So when I go and I need a new heat pump system for a grant, I approach somebody who's been a camper parent in the past, and they give me quotes and whatnot. And that's the company. Oftentimes those are the companies we choose because they're the lowest priced. Are they the lowest price because they are camper parents and they're giving us a deal? The answer is I don't always know, but I do know that I've never had any of that fail, right? So when I need HVAC work, I know who to call. And when I need doors, I know who to call because I'm calling a camp alumni person.
Right.
And more importantly for registered charities or 501c3s, you need active board members.
Yep.
Alumni can be good board members and alumni can be challenging board members. But I think it's also this idea of the relationship with someone who has expertise and can offer services to camp at a discount. I have 2 trees I'm looking at out my window that need to be cut down. I called the guy yesterday. He's like, I'll come and do a quote, and he can be here like within a week. So I'm like, great. This is the way we work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to accept that there will be challenging people like that, like everything, but that I think camp alumni are so emotionally attached that can be good and bad, especially if you have people like Gab said, this sort of the nostalgia people who are like, I'm attached to the way camp was in my camp experience. But you can also have alumni who are like, I'm attached to the fact that camp is changing all the time and it is always trying to be better at doing kid stuff. And I want to be there to help out with that and offer my support in many ways. How do you get in contact with your alumni? How do you get engaged with your alumni? How do you get to the point that you can discern whether or not which direction you want to push them?
I would say that when we first started to re-engage with our alumni. So when my folks purchased camp and how we run camp is very different from the previous owner. So it's truly different cultures that we're looking at. And so we thought we had to get everybody involved. It's like the newsletters, that we want as many people as possible. And after probably about 5 strong years of doing that and going almost nowhere, we continued with the general newsletters and then the reunions that we had. And then we started building very specifically. Our alumni support team is really based on the individuals, not on the needs of camp. So this person understands our mission.
Smart.
This person cares about camp. They will contribute in a way that makes the most sense to them, their skill set, their passion. And we started building small like that. That was number one. And we started building it into our culture of our staff training and making space for them when they came on camp and creating that feeling for especially our leadership team members, not like, oh, so-and-so is here, like, oh, thank goodness so-and-so is here. This is, so there's a little bit of that power dynamic. And those individuals, their role, they know they're a support X, whatever that is, it's a support piece. And they also really understand, because they understand camp, they understand that staff are going to complain, that things aren't going to be done the way that, and they understand that. And their role is to help problem solve with me, not judge, they understand the behind the scenes of camp. And I think the other piece is that to have something for those people that want to come to camp, they want to contribute, they see these other individuals coming, but they're not right for your support alumni team. And for us, that is opening days, closing days, visitors days. We need people, we need bodies, and they know how to do that, but they're not right to be on camp and support our leadership team or our staff, but we have a place for them. And that's been a pressure off of me. So I'm not saying no to people. We have spots always available for those that want to help out.
SMRT. Thank you. How do you keep in touch, reach them, Joe? What's the Pierce Williams procedure?
So a lot of the Pierce Williams procedure is, we used to have a newsletter, and then the idea that, that just became the same information every month, and that's not the hugest value. A lot of it is on social media, and we still have a variety of people who signed up for when we send out updates through either CampBrain or through Bloomerang, which is our donation software. We find reaching directly out to the people we want to engage is the best way, right? So when we need something, we directly reach out to, so my board chair reaching out to a previous alumni who was a camp mom and a previous board member, that's more effective than us asking for someone to do this particular thing, right? If we find that the alumni community is really something we can reach out through those channels, so social media and directly, and also churches. Because we're affiliated with the United Church Canada, there's still people in churches across the region that have us in their heart and want to see the best. And I think that those are the best ways for us to reach out, and knowing what we're looking for. So it's not just, it's the same warm body problem that people have, right? That if you're looking for a new board member, putting out a general ask might get you somebody who went to camp in the 80s and wants camp to be exactly like it was in the 80s. And that's not what camp is in 2023, right? Like it
especially
can't be.
From the 80s. Yes.
Oh my God, you'd get shut down like
oh
so
my
fast.
gosh.
So fast.
Your insurance company would be like, no thanks. But I think that
They from the 80s were not going to give you insurance.
That's the top question on their new client questionnaire.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. How, Chris?
Okay, so earlier I said that we turn to alumni for staff, but I don't want to lie to anybody. The truth is that we don't, because of something that Gabz brought up, is that a lot of our kids who graduate are nostalgic for camp, and we have had campers come back and work. And I think save one, the word disaster gets thrown around so much nowadays, but it wasn't great. Let's just say that it hasn't been great. And so the one thing that we are talking about, this is a year of change for us at Highlight. The one thing that we have been talking about is how do we incorporate ideas about alumni participation into the program as it exists for the campers now. So we have, our program goes to 15, and then we have a program for kids who are 16 and 17. That's called our Leadership Academy. Then they take a break, then you can apply at 19. So what we've been doing is we've been introducing leadership elements to the 15-year-olds as they are out the door, as they apply to the Leadership Academy. And then in the Leadership Academy, they talk a lot about jobs and careers and observing people who are doing jobs, and they get to observe their former counselors and talk to them about how their mindset around doing the work, because we want to introduce to our kids like how we want them to shift. Since we have them between 16 and 18, we want them to slowly shift their idea of what it's going to look like when they leave and what their participation could look like. The only thing available for them right now is staff, right? So we've started educating them. It's like a 3-year process and talking about, okay, and then when you turn 19, if these skills, if this career is interesting to you, then this is where you belong. If not, if you just really want to stay in contact, well, then, every year we'll have a get together at the park, or we'll do this and just check your email box for those notifications. But that's how we're doing it. It's going to be a multi-year process, but I'm excited because I think we will be able to get more from the campers rather than just being cut loose. Then they show up at 19 expecting like, wow, I can't wait to do all the fun things I did when I was young. It's like, well, when you were young, we were sacrificing sleep, sometimes our health, to do that, to give you that fantasia. And you have to be prepared to do the same for the kids who are coming up behind you. A lot of our kids just think it just happened, but like the behind the scenes, it's a lot of crying. It's a lot of me screaming at people, which, quick story, we did hire former campers, and I found one of them behind the director's cabin, like sobbing. And I said, what is going on? And he was like, you're just so mean to me. And I was like, honey, I'm not mean to you. I was like, you're here because you had a fantastic time, right? I was like, I'm not mean to you. I'm just direct. This is how I talk to your counselors to make sure that you would be inspired enough to come back. Right. So this is how the sausage gets made. And it's tasty, but messy. That's the way that works. Anyway.
There you go.
And that speaks to a CIT program. Transition. Sometimes they're necessary, but it is such a difficult transition between camper to staff. And
thinking about how to engage alumni, first of all, my why I think is for marketing, like just to have that group of people who, have a shortcut to understanding camp, that you can send stuff out to them and be like, we're looking for this. We're looking for staff who has the skills. If you know someone, and give them the tools to do that. I think that that's a huge resource to the camp, on top of all of the other things that have been said, which I agree with. How to get them to engage. There's lots of different things that I've seen in my work that I really like. We've talked about and shown on this show the 10-year paddle program that we started, which was a great way to get alumni to raise their hand. Just putting up all these paddles in the dining hall, which now there are close to 250 paddles up in the dining hall. And one of the things is that if you show up as an alumni and do a tour, and can say that you were at camp for 10 years. So we often start in the dining hall, the tours we did start at the dining hall, and people would see the paddles. They're like, that's so cool. I was here for 10 years. Why don't I have a paddle? And we'd be like, well, all you had to do is let us know. We'd finish the tour and invite them to lunch, and we try to present their paddle to them by the end of that lunch. But that was a good way to get alumni to raise their hands, get alumni to come back. That gets alumni to post on social media. They come into the dining hall to drop their kids off and take a picture of their paddle. We've had siblings who will wait to get a paddle so that their paddle can be beside their siblings. We've had families who, now we've been doing tenure paddles long enough that college students who work at camp or who have been at camp for a long time enough to get their paddle will ask to be put beside their parents. And we'll shift stuff around to do that. All of those things bring alumni out of the woodwork. I have also seen a camp that has a program for newborns. They give out newborn onesies, that says, I know my family has benefited from Ouareau's newborn onesies. It would say, CIT of this year or future camper in this year, and they change every year. And alumni will sign up to get those delivered for free, and then you get their email address and their address, and all of those bring folks out in order to keep them connected, so you can begin the process of figuring out where they belong and how they can best help your camp. What are some other ways that you've seen camp alumni do good things for camps?
I mean, donating services.
Sure.
Donating services for sure. I haven't seen this. My camp is fairly new. I've only been doing this for 12 years, but we get a lot of parents of kids who are donating either marketing services. Like, one of the kids' parents contacted us and was like, your website's fine, but I can redo the whole thing for you for free. That's what I do. We get a couple of those, which is fantastic. You can't plan for it, obviously, but when it pops up and someone's like, hey, I'm in this business of doing this. Can I provide this for all the kids, or can I do this service for you? It's great. It saves money. Again, you can't plan for it, but it's great when it pops up.
Are there good things that you've seen or good uses of alums?
I think services is huge. I think that the value of services, but also the value of mentoring, right? Especially last summer for us, having actual alumni on site after 2 summers of not running and helping helping our new staff see, get some direction is huge. And also, you can't understate the value of donating, right? If you really want to see your camp survive, we're very lucky to have an ex-board member and an ex-staff member from before my time who donates a substantial amount of money every year to Pierce Williams, like greater than $10,000 is his yearly donation. And I'm like, that's huge for us. And I would love for
life-changing for a camp.
I would love 2 or 3 of those donors every year. And it's a person who I was like, well, can I use this to challenge other people to give? And he's like, we'd rather not. Right. And you're like, okay, great. That's fine. Right. Like, I know enough about fundraising to be like, okay, great. I'll just keep taking your money. And thanks so much. So I think that for a nonprofit, you can't undersell that alumni often have. The reason our door guy came is because he had a life-changing experience one summer as a staff member, had never come as a camper, life-changing experience. And to this day, he'll bend over backwards to get us.
Amazing.
Now, I only have so many doors I need to install. So eventually that'll run out, but
What do you think, Gab?
I think there's I was thinking about what Joe was saying in mentorship, and sometimes it's like, how do you wrap that around? And do you have just one staff member come up, mentor one person? And yeah, that could work. But one of the things that has been really beneficial for our organization is bringing in past activity heads or leadership team members. And they do an onboarding process where they have a couple of meetings that they meet with those individuals. Like, even just like the head of drama we have to translate a lot of our plays. And so just walking them through that process, and each one is catered, but within a framework. And it's about 3 meetings, and then we all get to meet afterwards and chat how those went. But this has really, especially with a generation that's quite in an unknown and anxious state. It's really wonderful. And then if you do bring them onto camp, then they're excited to see that individual. So it builds these ties. And then it's not me doing all of it, which is typically what happens with camp directors, is they end up having these conversations, or they just don't have time to have them.
I've often thought it'd be great to have like an association of former program directors of your camp, so you can bring them, or outtrippers, that you could have like here's your support team. You're new to this job. Here's your support team. Here's who the people who are going to cheer you on, who know your job, and keep you open to you. But the thing I think, and I was just thinking about that from what you're talking about, Gab, it's important to acknowledge that even conversations, like even when you're a young adult, conversations with adults these days are hard. People are not used to making conversation, and having some happy alumni, well-connected, good camp people, alumni, for them to practice, like you're in a role. So the past association of program directors, as a program director, you're going to have to get on you're going to have to get on the phone with people. But if you have some practice with alumni who've been your job and understand, then that's a step. So that could be one of those things that could be a benefit that you might not consider. Okay, I thank you all for this. It's been a great topic and an important one. I think there's some good stuff in there to help out. We didn't get into the cautions of this on purpose, but because I think we could spend an hour on cautionary tales. So let's go away with that acknowledgement. It can be bad, but if you listen to what Chris and Joe and Gabz have said today, you can set yourselves up for some good stuff, and some good ways and good benefits to your camp because of that. I want to thank the folks at UltraCamp for being a sponsor of this show. You've heard me say this all season. If you can or need to improve your staff communication, then UltraCamp has provided a free tool. Pre-written prompts, things for you to keep in touch with them. Set yourself up now for a great year, keeping in contact with your staff and making your staff recruiting for next season easier. You can go to the UltraCamp staff communication calendar at ultracampmanagement.com/CampHacker. When you're thinking about UltraCamp, you have to ask yourself, what is the reason why you chose to get into the camping world? As we've talked about today, it's not necessarily paperwork or budgeting or all that stuff, but that is why UltraCamp built their platform. They made it so it's flexible and affordable, as it is powerful, so you can keep your program moving forward. UltraCamp's pricing is transparent and flexible. It means that you can rest easy and focus on what's important, the work that you're doing for your campers. UltraCamp has a low minimum entry fee, clear pricing with no hidden costs, flexible payment terms, and no long-term contracts. So it's safe for you to try UltraCamp. UltraCamp's goal is to help their clients spend less time in the office and more time doing what they love. If you want to know if UltraCamp's right for you, they offer free customized demo sessions, and you can also set that up at the same address. Sign up and get the free download at ultracampmanagement.com/CampHacker. So I want to thank you then, all of you, and I want to move us on to our tool of the week.
Tool of the week.
Joe, what's your tool of the week?
My tool of the week this week is the director's closet or supply closet. I can't express how important it is for you, if you're an executive director or a director at camp, to have a hidden closet full of stuff that people are going to need, so that they don't go out and buy it, or that you can appear to know things ahead of time. So for example, I keep things like, our camp batteries in it. I keep weird supplies, like an extra set of pins for our Gaga ball quartz are movable. And so they need 8-inch bolts, and those get lost. So I keep an extra set in the closet, and I keep, just things that summer camp is going to need, but you don't want to have just left out because they might be more expensive or whatnot. And this is a lesson I learned from Judy Bigger when she was at the Taylor Staton camps. She would literally, behind her desk, she just had like built-ins in this like 1921 cabin that the office was in. And you would go in and be like, oh, you know what we really need right now? We really need, a cell phone charger for a 1992 Nokia brick. And she'd be like, just wait a second. And she would go into the back and she would pull this out. And so imagine if somebody came to you and said like, I have this old iPod, but I don't have one of those like 21 pin chargers. And you'd be like, just wait a second. I have that charger. And it's weird because I think I want to label those boxes when I die, just throw this out, right? So that nobody has to like think, why is he collecting this stuff? Don't worry about it. When I die, just throw this out and start again, right? So
why does the closet have to be hidden? Like what? Is it like down a tunnel or it's a trap door?
Too.
Just because it's not open access.
Yeah.
Like I had my own set of tools that were hidden because at a certain point, all of the hammers go missing. And I'd be like, all right, well, here's my hammer. Bring it back to me in an hour.
I see now.
And the reality is it's not always in here. It's not one place. Like I have numerous places. So I have stuff in my office in an old medicine cabinet that I have, but I also have a locked filing cabinet in somebody else's in a back office that has all of our camp stickers. It has prints from our
There's a big sticker on the front that says Joe's Do Not Even.
Well, no, it's locked, so you can't open it unless you know where the key is, right? And this is the trick is that it needs to be protected stuff so that you don't know that it went missing. Because when it goes and it's a replaceable item, you need to know to reorder it. And we all know that camp staff suck at letting you know when things run out.
Absolutely.
All staff do, not just camp staff.
My partner does too. No, I'm
that person.
Yeah. Awesome. My tool of the week is just a relaxation, a fun thing. I shared with this group actually after recording last time. I was like, I can make that a tool. There is a cool YouTube channel called Cirque that is a lot of dance music, down-tempo dance music, but it's always a DJ or an artist in an incredible location. So it's one of those YouTube channels that's worth looking at. I put their music on in the background a lot, but it's also fun to just watch, like, famous DJs who did a set at sunrise in Cappadocia in Turkey from a balloon. Or in an ancient ruins in Libya, like an old Roman temple in Libya. I saw this woman do a set. So stunning, great music. There's lots of variety, so you can sort of pick the theme. I usually I've said before, I like to work with sort of down-tempo electronic music. And so some of the dancey stuff I don't put on and I don't like it, but I've seen the show at awesome places. So check that out. You can go to camphacker.tv/podcast for our show notes and find the link to the Circle YouTube channel that's there. Gab, what's your tool?
My tool is more of a tip. And that's just because I had a meeting with our new leadership team just before recording today. And I realized that a lot of them knew each other, but they hadn't really worked together. And so one question that we used was in your observations from last year, what is your teammates' leadership styles? And what that did was, which I saw very quickly, and it wasn't in front of everybody. They were in small groups of 2 to 3. What it did very, very quickly get them back into camp, thinking about camp, and then 2, I think it gives a little bit more confidence with the person you're working with, and then you feel good that somebody also notices you. And I think that during the summer, sometimes when we're creating new teams as co-counselors or even in programming, you might have worked together, but how do you have that transition and that acknowledgement of somebody else's capabilities, skill sets? And I think you develop a deeper appreciation when you have to think about what does this person bring to the table? And there's a trust is built also, I think, through that. So it's just a simple little question that you can use either before the summer for people that are returning or during the summer that with people that have worked together, but maybe not so much.
Anything that you can do to help people feel noticed is
exactly
good camp. Chris, what's your tool?
So my tool is, I'm giving stuff away for free here. So as you know, people hire me to come and tell them things. However, I'm going to give away some free stuff right now. So one of the components I use in my training is something called the genderbread person, which is just a simple tool for talking about sexual orientation and gender. So I want to share the website where the genderbread person lives. The website is itspronouncedmetrosexual.com. And what it is sort of like this one guy I think he started with a genderbread person and made it available. None of this stuff is copyright. He uncopyrighted all of it. So it would be an available tool to the community. And this website has a lot of graphics, information, and some lesson plans about how to talk about social justice, sexual orientation, gender, etc. Like, it is a great start if you want to be like, well, how do I present this information to young people? I've just been going to the website because it's gotten so much bigger since last time I was here. But I will talk about the genderbread person because that I know intimately, because that finds its way to so many of my trainings. It is a structured way to talk about gender identity, sexual orientation, and expression with young people. It's gone through many revisions, and there's a full lesson plan up there. I've done it many times. It's always a hit. It's always works. So I'm just turning that tool over to all of you, especially in some of these conversations. People are like, I don't know where to start. Can't say that anymore. So there it is.
Excellent. Thank you all for your tools and tips today. Thank you for a great season of CampHacker. I'm so grateful to get to do this with the three of you on the regular. And we look forward to bringing more folks on to do this job. Chris has been kind enough to create a little form where we can get some information from folks so we can diversify the voices that we hear on the show and other Go Camp Pro podcasts as well. So if you go to camphacker.tv/podcast, you will find that form. You can give us your information, and we will provide some training for you. So you're not coming in cold. We'll give you a bit of confidence to be able to join in on this conversation. So grateful to the many folks who filled that out already. I haven't looked at the number recently, Chris. I think it's at least 30 people have put up their hands.
It's more than 30 now.
Right on.
Yeah. It's definitely.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And it keeps going, which I love to see.
Totally.
People are very passionate about wanting to share their experience, and I love to see it. And if you have filled it out and no one's reached out to you yet, that's fine. We're just collecting it and loving all the information you're sending. So stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you to those folks as well. We appreciate the future of camp podcasting is that you're willing to and interested to be a part of that. So thank you. Thanks for being on the show, Chris. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it.
Good. Great. Thanks for your wisdom and insight, Joe.
Thanks for letting me come back. Haven't been banned yet.
Well, next week could be the week.
Well, it depends if I put a scroll saw as my background.
Okay, and Gabz.
And Gabz, thanks for being on the show this year.
It's always my pleasure.
All right. One other quick thing I would ask you, if you're a day camp director or not, please go check out the Day Camp Pod. They're doing some smart things there. They have great guests from a really varied perspective, and they're really, really good at bringing on guest speakers, guest hosts, which is something that we hope to emulate going forward in CampHacker. So check out the Day Camp Pod on your podcast app, and you can find their information there. Thank you all for being listeners this year. Thank you for doing the work that you do. It's incredibly important. And we're grateful to have you as companions in professional camp management. Thanks for the evening, friends.
The CampHacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Camp Pros. We love that our industry is built on sharing. In order to foster that spirit, if you've gotten even one good idea from a Go Camp Pro podcast, a masterclass, from the Summer Camp Pros group on Facebook, at a conference, or wherever else, we ask that you give credit where credit is due. That way, we can encourage camp pros to keep freely sharing their brilliant ideas and make the camp industry better. Thanks very much.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. Quick, free, repeatable, you'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.